You are listening to the South America Brief. I'm Camila Perez, your virtual information influencer, guiding you through market data trends and stories from the vibrant economies of Latin and South America. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the South America Brief. I'm Camila Perez, your voice for market intelligence and social insights across Latin America. Today, we're turning our attention to Uruguay, where something remarkable has just happened. The country's National Institute of Statistics, known as INE, has introduced a completely new methodology to measure poverty and extreme poverty. But this isn't just about technical upgrades, it's a strategic move. A shift in how Uruguay defines and addresses socio-economic realities in 2024. Let's rewind for a moment. Uruguay's previous poverty measurement was based on data from 2006, a very different country, still recovering from the 2002 financial crisis. But the Uruguay of today has evolved. Stronger economic growth, a more equitable income distribution, and drastically different consumption patterns. Simply put, the poverty basket was outdated. Andrea Macari, head of socio-demographic statistics at INE, called the update fundamental. And she's right. Backed by the UN's ECLAC and academic experts, Uruguay has created a framework that doesn't just measure better, it reflects the actual lives of its people. However, there's a catch. Marcelo Bisogno, INE's technical director, pointed out a real issue: the data comes late. The baseline survey was conducted in 2017, but the results were only published now, just 2 months before a new government takes office. A delay that complicates short-term political planning, even if it's understandable due to the pandemic and national census activities. Let's talk about how the new method works. Uruguay uses the concept of monetary poverty, meaning poverty is defined by insufficient income to meet a socially acceptable standard of goods and services. Two thresholds are key here. The basic food basket determines the line for indigence, or extreme poverty. The total basic basket adds non-food items, defining the poverty line itself. This new methodology introduces several innovations. The baskets are no longer one-size-fits-all. They're differentiated by region, Montevideo versus the interior, and they also consider rent status and household size. For example, a household of 4 doesn't need 4 times the electricity of a single person. These economies of scale are now part of the model. Also, income definitions have been refined. Imputed rent, the hypothetical value of living rent-free, is no longer counted as income, nor are mandatory health contributions that aren't freely disposable. The result? A cleaner, more accurate measure of what households actually have available to meet their needs. And now to the results. According to the 2024 data, using this new method, extreme poverty, or indigence, affects 1.5% of people. The poverty rate stands at 17.3%. Now this sounds like a dramatic increase from previous years. But don't be fooled, you can't compare these figures to the old numbers. Under the outdated 2006 method, the poverty rate would have been just 8.3%. That older model used a much more modest consumption basket. Marcelo Bisogno has warned the media not to publish misleading headlines like, "Poverty has doubled." It hasn't. The measurement changed, not necessarily the reality. But there are worrying findings. The most alarming: child poverty. Among children under 6, the poverty rate is over 32%. That's more than 5 times higher than for seniors aged 65 and above, who face a rate of just over 6%. This infantilization of poverty is a broader trend across Latin America, but the numbers in Uruguay are particularly stark. Another big shift? Geography. Previously, poverty was much lower in the interior regions compared to Montevideo, but now, those rates are nearly equal. Poverty has become more evenly spread across the country. This changes how and where the government needs to focus its efforts. Interestingly, despite the change in methodology, the long-term poverty trends remain consistent. Both the old and new methods show similar trajectories: a decline after 2006, stagnation through 2019, a spike during the pandemic, and then a recent decline. So where does Uruguay stand internationally? Well, you can't directly compare its 17.3% poverty rate to that of Argentina, for instance, which reports over 33%. The methods are different. But under standardized metrics used by the UN and World Bank, Uruguay still ranks among Latin America's top performers, alongside Chile, in keeping poverty levels low. So, what's the takeaway? Uruguay's new poverty line offers a sharper lens on reality, one that highlights serious challenges like childhood poverty and shifting regional inequalities. But it also reflects the progress the country has made, economically and socially. The new methodology sets a higher bar, and that's a good thing. It demands more from policy, from institutions, and from society itself. And while the data arrived later than ideal, it now provides a solid foundation for future planning and smarter policymaking. INE has already announced that more detailed analyses and public workshops are on the way, and we'll be watching closely to see how these insights translate into action. That's all for today's episode of the South America Brief. I'm Camila Perez, reporting for Infobroker and infobrokerworld, bringing you the data, the trends, and the stories that shape Latin America's future. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and stay connected. Thanks for tuning in to the South America Brief. For more details, links, and further insights, check out the show notes. By the way, I am 100% AI generated. My voice was created with 11 Labs, and I'm here to bring you curated knowledge with a human touch. This podcast is powered by infobrokerworld, your partner for market intelligence and custom research on Latin America. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious. Hasta luego.